28 Days Later opens with a chimpanzee restrained on a table. It's being forced to watch disturbing footage of real-life violence. A group of animal activists infiltrate the facility, which we learn is the Cambridge research lab that is housing aggressive chimpanzees. These animals are infected with a contagious rage virus. A lab worker tries to stop them, explaining in order to cure, you must first understand. They are contagious with rage and it's in their blood and saliva. But against his warnings, they go to release the animals. But as soon as the first chimp gets free, it attacks an activist, and within seconds, she succumbs to the virus. We cut to 28 days later, where bicycle courier Jim awakens from a coma in St. Thomas's Hospital in London. The city is eerily deserted, and it's clear to us the infection has spread rapidly across Britain, leading to the total collapse of society. As Jim wanders through the empty streets, he finds newspapers that show headlines about a mass evacuation. He stumbles into a church that is full of corpses stacked upon each other. Unsure about their state, he calls out, "Hello," and an infected priest emerges hearing his call and begins to chase him. Now Jim is running through the street. He is soon rescued by two survivors, Selena and Mark, who bring him to their safe spot. Jim explains that he has no idea what's going on and he just woke up in a hospital after a car accident on his bike. Selena and Mark explain to Jim about the infection which has spread and how the city and world broke into chaos with everyone trying to escape. Now they have no communication, no government, and haven't seen any survivors in 6 days. They explain they live by two lessons. Lesson 1, never go anywhere alone. Lesson 2, you only travel during daylight. The next day, they willingly take Jim to his parents' house. Unfortunately, he discovers that they have taken their own lives. They are clutching a photo of Jim, and on the back it reads, "With endless love, we left you sleeping. Now we're sleeping with you. Don't wake up." Selena and Mark tell him that he should be grateful that they died peacefully. That night, they stay in Jim's parents' house, and Jim watches old home movies and lights a candle. But this soon attracts the infected, who come straight through a nearby window, crashing him to the ground. Mark and Selena come to his rescue, but during the attack, Mark is infected and Selena ends him without hesitation in a brutal scene. She then tells Jim to clean up and that they have to move on. Once moving, she tells Jim that if someone becomes infected, you have between 10 and 20 seconds to kill them. As they are walking, they see some colorful Christmas lights flashing from a building. They investigate, but they are chased upstairs by the infected. Just in time, a man appears and saves them, letting them inside. This is Frank, a taxi driver who was hiding with his young teenage daughter Hannah. Frank offers Jim and Selena shelter for the night. Jim shaves, just so you know, for continuity, and Selena and Jim have a conversation about Frank and his daughter. Selena is worried that they may slow them down. The next day, Frank shows them that they get water supply from the roof with hundreds of buckets and vessels left out in case it rains. But they're running out. Using a wind-up radio, Frank plays them a broadcast from soldiers promising safety and a possible cure at a blockade near Manchester. He pleads with them to help him and his daughter to get there, admitting that he heard them talking through the walls last night and he knows that he needs Selena and Jim more than they need him. They agree to leave using Frank's taxi and decide to go through a dark tunnel which will save them time but is more risky without the daylight. During this, they get a flat tire and now on high alert, they attempt to change the flat. It's a thrilling sequence, but they manage to change the tire and drive off just in time. They then take a quick shopping spree at an abandoned grocery store, stocking up on supplies. They also make a quick stop to get fuel, and during this, Jim wanders off and disturbs an infected child who tries to attack him, but he gets away, killing the child. Learning a lesson, but also showing growth in his character. And we see some character development in Selena, who begins to open up after seeing Frank and Hannah's relationship, which reminds her of what life is really about after being in survival mode for so long. They finally arrive at the blockade, but it's abandoned, and in frustration, Frank wanders off. Sitting alone, a crow annoys him, so he kicks the structure it's on. He's trying to shoo it away, but this simple action changes everything because it causes a corpse on the same structure to move, and a single drop of infected blood falls directly into his eye. As the virus overtakes him, he calls out to Hannah to tell her that he loves her and to stay away from him. Jim attempts attempts to help the situation, but soldiers appear and shoot Frank dead. Jim, Selena, and Hannah are now taken by the soldiers to a hidden fortified mansion run by Major Henry West. This is the true villain of the film. He is the embodiment of evil, showing how opportunistic humans exploit horrific circumstances. They are offered shelter, food, and given a tour of the grounds, but it's soon revealed to Jim that the broadcast was a trap to lure women in for sexual exploitation. Jim finds Hannah and Selena and attempts to escape, but is struck, and when he comes to, he is laying on the floor surrounded. West offers him the chance to join his side, but he and another soldier, Sergeant Farrell, refuse. West orders their execution. They are taken into the woods where Farrell is shot, but Jim manages to escape and hide. Hiding, he sees a jet above and realizes that the world beyond Britain may be still intact. Now there is a horrific scene where Selena tries to reason with the soldiers to have a moment alone with Hannah before they plan to assault them. Selena makes Hannah take pills so that she will be out of it mentally during what she fears will happen next. But just then, sirens go off. We see that Jim has set them off, trying to distract the soldiers, and he releases Private Mailer, who is an infected captive that they have kept chained up on premises. Mailer kills several of the soldiers, while Jim also has to defend himself, attempting to get to Selena and Hannah. It's a chaotic, thrilling sequence in a heavy thunderstorm as Selena, Hannah, and Jim battle to survive the uninfected and infected soldiers, all ironically posing the same level of threat. This is when Jim gouges out a soldier's eyes. Selena realizes that Jim is alive and not infected, and they have a moment where they embrace, kissing, and Hannah comes up behind them, thinking that Jim is biting Selena because she is out of it from the pills, but they all manage to escape the building together. They quickly approach the cab that they came in. Hannah gets in front and Selena goes to jump in the back with Jim, but when they open the door, West is inside and he shoots Jim. But Hannah quickly reverses the cab into the affected Private Mailer, who grabs onto West and takes him. She then drives back forward and picks up Jim and Selena. The scene ends when they collide full speed with the front gates. Now we're shown 28 days later again. Jim wakes up recovering in a cottage with both Selena and Hannah. As a jet flies overhead, the trio work together to display a massive banner of collected fabric spelling hello. They wave overhead, with Selena having the last line, "Do you think that he saw us this time?" Cut to credits. 28 weeks later follows Don and his wife Alice, who are shacked up with a small group of survivors in a remote cottage outside of London. They are making dinner together, and Don and Alice discuss how their two children were on a school trip during the outbreak and how they believe that this may have saved them. This is important for later. During dinner, a terrified young boy bangs on the house, begging for help. They let him in and they offer him food, asking about his story. He tells them that he was chased by his family, who are infected. One of the survivors watches outside as he tells the story and is grabbed by one of the infected who followed him. They bite her and she is instantly infected. The chaos now breaks out inside of the house. Don urges Alice to abandon the boy, but she refuses and they are separated. Don escapes through a window alone, leaving his wife Alice behind, trapped inside, screaming out for his help. And he can see this clearly from the window. Now hundreds chase him down to a river where he sees Jacob, another survivor he was with earlier. Jacob is preparing a boat for his escape. Don jumps onto the boat, knocking Jacob into the water. He does attempt to save him, but is too late as the infected are everywhere. Don escapes alone, leaving everyone behind to die. Text explains 15 days later, mainland Britain is quarantined. 28 days later, mainland Britain has been destroyed by the rage virus. 5 weeks later, the infected have died of starvation. 11 weeks later, an American-led NATO force enters London. 18 weeks later, mainland Britain is declared free of infection. 24 weeks later, reconstruction begins, and then it shows the title 28 weeks later. Now in the present, we follow US military as they begin to help repopulate the country. Among the new arrivals are Don's children, Tammy and Andy, who were abroad during the crisis. They're checked over by Scarlett, the chief medical officer, before taken into District 1. This is a secure zone that is under strict military supervision, including by soldiers Doyle and Flynn, who are important later. Here they reunite with their father Don. Scarlett is uneasy about children being brought into the zone so early because there is no cure. She discusses this debriefs with other military high-ups, including General Stone, who confirms that the disease is not airborne and the last infected person died 6 months ago. Now we follow Don, Tammy, and Andy. Don is the section officer and he shows his children their new home. They ask their dad about what happened to their mom and he tells them a very different version of events, saying that he went back to try and save her and she died right in front of him and there was nothing that he could do, when in reality, he left her alive and trapped. Don says they can never return home. The next day, Tammy and Danny sneak out of District 1 to revisit their old home, hoping to retrieve personal belongings. They steal a scooter to make the trip, but when they arrive home, they find something entirely shocking and somewhat impossible. Their mother, Alice, is still alive and seemingly unharmed. Military surrounds the building as they have been alerted by Don, who woke up to find his kids missing, that they may have gone home. They retrieve the children and quarantine Alice. Officer Scarlett soon discovers that Alice was bitten and carries the rage virus, but shows no symptoms, making her the potential key to a cure. Tammy and Andy confront their father about the lie of their mother's death, and Don uses his section officer privileges to visit Alice without the military's permission or knowledge. Overcome with emotion and guilt, he kisses her unaware that she is infected, and he becomes infected instantly and kills Alice in a brutal scene, gouging out her eyes. That's 2 for 2. Both films in this series so far have eye gouging. My prediction is there might be another one in the new upcoming film. Now Don launches into a rampage, spreading a new wave of infection. Scarlett acts quickly, saving Tammy and Andy, and tries to evacuate them. But they all become trapped in a room with Don, who is infected. It's a total bloodbath, and Andy loses Scarlett and his sister Tammy in the chaos. General Stone orders a full-scale purge. Everyone is now a target, infected or not. Scarlett puts out an alert for Andy, who is the only young boy in the zone. Soldier Doyle, who is aiming for the citizens, spots him and deserts his post to help Scarlett. Andy then finds Scarlett and Tammy, who have taken shelter along with another group of survivors, and Doyle joins them. Now Scarlett and Doyle attempt to break out the group of survivors with the help of Doyle's friend Flynn. Some survivors are shot down by the military, and Doyle even takes his own team out trying to save these civilians. As they're evacuating, the Air Force bombs District 1, wiping out all life, infected or not. Scarlett explains to Doyle that she wants to protect both Andy and Tammy because they may hold the cure through their mother's genes. Their life is more valuable than anyone else's. The group reaches Regent's Park, where Flynn arrives by helicopter intending to pick up Doyle alone, and the infected are swarming the area. Now Sam, a panicked survivor, grabs onto the helicopter, which unbalances it, but Flynn uses this momentum to utilize the angle and blades of the helicopter to kill off the massive infected horde surrounding them. Sam ends in this accident and Flynn fails to pick up any survivors. Doyle escapes with Scarlett and the children, and Flynn tells Doyle to meet him at the Wembley Stadium alone, but Doyle refuses to abandon the others, and the group find a car and pile in, but it won't start, and now they are surrounded by the infected. Doyle sacrifices himself by getting out and push-starting the vehicle. Soldiers are approaching the area and the car, and they engulf him with flamethrowers they are using on the surrounded infected bodies. But Scarlett and the children get away, and they drive until they have no choice but to continue on foot. They take refuge in the dark tunnels of the London Underground using a night vision scope. Now they navigate through the darkness in this very tense wreck meets the descent found footage sequence. But Don, the father who has been on the rampage the entire time, reappears and he kills Scarlett. He then attacks Andy, biting him. Tammy then uses a weapon to kill her father to try and save her brother, and like Alice, Andy shows no symptoms aside from the same eye color changes as his mother, suggesting that he has inherited her immunity and he may be the key, the cure to it all. The children make it to Wembley Stadium, where Flynn flies them out. We see again 28 days later, and there are signs of an abandoned helicopter which is broadcasting a distress call in French. We then get glimpses of an erratic scene in Paris. Infected people are seen emerging from the metro station near the Eiffel Tower. Cut to credits. This knowledge gives you all of the information you need to go into the new 28 film, with all of the clues and lore that we have so far, what could happen next. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out. And leave a comment letting me know how much you want to see another eye gouging scene out of 10. Remember to subscribe if you like horror movies, recaps, reviews, and all of these handy little videos. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.